and welcome to the Bricks and Mortar Leadership Podcast. I'm Kyle. Thank you for joining me. And today, my guest is Tony. Tony, say your last name for me.
I say Reffeitt.
Reffeitt, and I'm sure that gets butchered all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me if people can't spell it or pronounce it. My mom says she was married 3 months before she could spell it, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, I get it. My name gets butchered all the time too. So
I'm sure.
Oh yes. So yeah, Tony. Tony is actually being kind because he's running through the gauntlet. This will be the first in studio interview. So thanks for that.
Yeah, man, I'm happy
great
to be invited into the studio. See right here where the magic happens.
Yes, hopefully magic does happen, but we shall see. No, so obviously just wanted to talk to you today. Thanks for being on. I really appreciate it, and kind of get into your background and your story and what led you to kind of go down some of the ventures that you've gone down. So now Tony is a realtor. Is that correct? Or actually a broker?
Yeah, well, both. So in Indiana today, everyone who has a real estate license is called a broker.
Oh.
It wasn't always that way, but now we're a single license state. And then if you're a member of the National Association of Realtors, you can call yourself a realtor also. So I'm both an Indiana broker and a realtor.
How long ago did that change?
I'm going to say maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
Used to be a broker and a salesperson, and only a broker could hold the license of a salesperson. But today, everybody's called a broker, and some, like myself, are called a principal managing broker.
Gotcha. What led you down that path? Like what kind of took you down there?
And I really fell into it. This month is 30 years. Has real estate.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's been my only income over those 30 years. Prior to that, I was traveling around the country singing gospel music.
Really?
Yeah. And when I wasn't away, I would take all kinds of temporary jobs when we were back in town to pay the bills. And I started being an assistant to a realtor. And so that just took off, and then the music faded into the background, the traveling, and here we are 30 years later.
What got you on the gospel path? That's an unusual one, right?
Yeah, it was very cool. It was a neat opportunity. So, my family, we packed up when I'm 13 years old. My dad started traveling preaching, and me and my brothers and my mom sang. And at the start, it was Southern gospel and mostly an evangelistic sort of meeting in churches. 14 years later, it was a Christian country band that we performed in some churches, but then a lot of other fairs and festivals and various things, and did recordings in Nashville. And it was a cool way to grow up, see the country, and experience life.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
You grew up a preacher's kid and traveled around everywhere.
That's it. Yeah.
Cool. What denomination were you guys?
Baptist.
Okay.
But we wound up in every imaginable type of church.
Yeah.
From night to night, from state to state, you would wake up and you wouldn't know what state you were in, and so every imaginable place, every imaginable size of venue. It was a really diverse set of things you experienced on a daily basis.
Wow. What's like some of the craziest places you guys played at?
Big venues with thousands of people to little places where we doubled the attendance when we showed up. We'd say, we'll set up our sound system in a telephone booth, so anything and everything, man. I mean, up hollers where you didn't think your bus was going to get, to big civic centers with tons of other groups,
Yeah.
So,
wow, you guys were a big deal then.
No, but it was a small industry back then.
Yeah.
And
so, for gospel, much smaller. Yeah. What was the name of the group?
Just the Reffeitts.
The Reffeitts.
Yeah.
There you go. Still available out there anywhere?
You might find something online somewhere. We had one song that had some good success. I wrote the song, and I think about 93 or 94.
Oh, wow.
Cashbox Magazine had it number 5 or 6 on their Christian country charts.
Yeah.
So,
wow. You know, the crazy thing that just registered in my brain when you said that is you said 93 or 94 and my brain started doing math. I'm like, oh, that is 30 years ago.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So I know we have guitar in common. You're a
Yeah, we were talking
guitarist
about that.
well.
Yeah, we were talking about that before we kind of got down here and finally got recording. But yeah, I'm sure that you're, like I said, much more versed than I, so it's okay. But no, so, okay. So then just kind of fell into the realtor track the way you talked about earlier.
Yeah, very much. It was just kind of accidental, but got on a team when teams weren't a thing. 30 years ago, teams weren't a thing, and got blessed to be teamed up with a guy. And we were both very young. We were the same age, very young. And within a couple years, we were setting records. It was really, really awesome experience to be part of that, and we were so enthused about it. It's an exciting time in the industry too.
Yeah, so you kind of found your niche there, it felt like.
Yeah, pretty early on, got realizing that we were good at this and we could help people. And
what do you think the key to being a good realtor is? What separates that level from someone else?
I think a lot of it is keeping the focus on the client and their experience. Listening, educating them, making sure that they understand what's going on, and keeping sight of the big picture, not getting distracted by the short term of the commission, keeping your eye on the goal of helping them accomplish their goals. Because it's really true, if you help enough people accomplish what they want in life, you can get whatever you want out of life. So just staying true to that, always educating yourself on the industry. There's something to learn every day, staying curious, staying authentic and enthused. And I think that's probably part of it.
It's got to have changed enormously in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
You went through the bubble. You've been through all of that.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I remember early on, somebody said, you need a website. And I said, website? Well, who needs a website? That's ridiculous. We certainly don't do that. A couple years later, I was teaching web design to realtors.
Yeah.
And then today, obviously, so much of what we do is online, and spend an insane amount of money and effort in all the things that are online. And here we are online.
Yeah. It's crazy how that's become such a huge part of our life. And I know when we were looking for this house and even prior to that too, is it good or bad for you on your end of the coin to have your clients have access to everything at a high level? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think for the most part, it's good.
Yeah.
Like we said before we got on camera here, I wrote an offer this morning for some folks who've never seen the house that we wrote on, which is weird.
That is weird. I would never do that.
There's been sometimes I've done transactions for people I never met. They were already out of state or out of country.
Yeah.
So it can all be pretty virtual these days, and we use a lot of tools there to help facilitate that.
Yeah.
But I'd still much rather be in person with them and physically walk through the house with them, but we'll do what we need to do given their situation.
Yeah. Now, are you completely independent or are you working through an agency?
Yeah, no, I own my own brokerage. Early on in my career, I was with some of the large companies, and I was a part owner of one of the large franchises. But for the past 23 years, I've been on my own with Integrity Real Estate.
Okay, very cool. So I assume, when you go that route, like any other business owner, it's now all on you. Yeah, and that's a huge learning curve. That's something that, I've kind of discussed in other shows. I'm still learning myself. And it just gets more and more complex too, as the technology gets more and more complex. What are you finding are some ways these days that are, do you find that word of mouth is still the biggest kind of generator of business for you? Or is it other things?
Yeah, I don't know that I'd say it's the biggest, but you need word of mouth. And I'm always going to be wanting that long-term relationship, repeat clients. I got a client right now. I just did their 14th transaction. That's over the past probably, I don't know, 15 years maybe.
wow,
and
that's
these
cool.
they've lived in every one of those homes except for maybe 2.
Oh, wow.
You know, so that's what you're after. You want the client, you want their family and friends, and that's word of mouth. But a lot of times now, you know, you'll pick up people from a website, from a YouTube video, from a billboard or a mailing, you know, whatever. We fish in a lot of different ponds, and so a good portion of the business also comes just from newfangled lead generation strategies.
Yeah. What are some of those that you're using?
Well, we've put a lot of effort into our YouTube channel lately.
Yeah.
A lot of money goes into websites. I recently brought on my daughter as my inside sales agent. She got her license, and so she's nurturing a lot of those leads for us, making those phone calls.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've done radio, I have billboards, I do mailings.
You can add podcasting now.
Yeah, podcasts, a lot of different social media sorts of things. So it's just constantly evolving.
Yeah. Well, you have anything in there that's been the most successful for you? Or has it just kind of been a little bit here, a little bit there?
Yeah, I think if I knew what was the most successful, I'd just do that all day. But I think it really has to be a combination of things.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of touches, and so I'm trying to balance keeping up and in touch with past clients as well as generating new leads and things. Largely, I lean towards doing a good job of promoting my listings. When I take a listing, it gets a ton of exposure, and so that helps drive traffic for that house, but then to me as well. So philosophically, I try to lean towards things that promote my listings while promoting me.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now you had mentioned something that I wanted to get into, so you preempted that. That's good. Was the YouTube, because that's you know, obviously with the social media has really come on, especially over the last few years, and now we've got that kind of avenue available to all of us to market, right? What are some things that you have done on your YouTube channel that you've kind of, you know, found a way to kind of market through that avenue?
Yeah, so I'm about a year into my YouTube journey, and I think we've made some pretty good episodes and nice content. I just recently hired somebody to help me promote it and get more subscribers and more engagement and things. So I think that's got a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah.
It's a changed algorithm now. It's tougher to build a vertical subscriber base on YouTube than it used to be, especially in my industry. But I'm super excited about where it's headed. As to stuff we've put out there, everything from a little playlist that we've started called Future Real Estate Mogul Training, where I'm teaching my 8-year-old about the real estate business, and that's kind of fun. To I've been up on my roof with my roofer.
Yes, I've seen that one. Yeah.
I've interviewed a number of builders about their neighborhoods, done different community spotlights, interviewed certain business owners and things. So I really just lean towards things that I really care about. I try not to just do something because it's supposed to do something.
Yeah.
I want it to stay authentic, something that I'm actually enthused about, and some content that I hope lives out there a little while and gives the viewer something of interest to them, and maybe educates them or helps them determine they do want to live in this town. A lot of it we would feature towns and what differentiates that town from the others.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
Why you might be interested in it.
Yeah, very cool. Are you typically doing these yourself as far as editing and all that and getting it all up, or
no? Two things.
So you're smarter than I am.
Two things. I doubt that, but I have determined these two things I will never do again as long as I live. One is finish drywall. I'll hang it, but I won't finish it.
Yeah.
2 is edit video. My life is too short to do either of those two things. They just make me crazy.
Yeah.
So I hire that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Like there's been the other thing too is like the technology's gotten so much better for some of that stuff. And like what we're doing now, you were kind of asking about editing before we got going, and like even now, and I would recommend this to anybody out there that is a newer business like me that maybe doesn't have the capital yet to pay somebody to do stuff. There's a lot of programs out there. I use a program called Descript, and you can do so much with it. And it's got so many crazy tools built into it that make things so easy. Like everything that we're going to do, we're actually going to edit via transcript. So if I do need to take anything or move anything around, I literally just highlight it like a Word doc and drag it and move it wherever, and it does the video and everything awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Neat.
And you can cut it into smaller clips and things. So
sweet.
Yeah, it's fantastic for social media.
Granted, it's been a while since I've done the editing sort of things, and the technology has
still takes
improved.
time.
But I still would rather just pay somebody to do that.
Like I said, you're a wiser man than I, sir. So what are some stories that stick out to you as you've kind of gone through this 30-year journey in this world? Like, do you have any that kind of stick out to you that you're like, that was it's because it's got to be really rewarding, I would think. You go through a lot of situations where you've helped people kind of fulfill dreams, right? Like I know, like when we bought our house, it was such a roller coaster of emotion, but then at the end of it, like we say to each other all the time, I can't believe that we got that house, and what a blessing it was from God to be here. And so what are anything stick out to you as far as that?
Yeah, definitely, especially the last few years, given how much appreciation there's been. We've been able to help a few people where they were kind of in trouble financially, but they had bought the house before.
Oh boy.
And are able to sell that and pay off all their debts and, really change their life. So that's really awesome when you see the weight of all that come off them because they made some good decisions with their real estate.
Yeah.
So that's very rewarding, very fulfilling. And that's really what keeps you going, is seeing people accomplish their goals and how much a part of their family life and even their health, their mental health, their financial status, their emotional status is all wrapped up into that. So we're really blessed on a, weekly basis to be going to closings where people's lives they're so much happier, and so that's very cool.
It's amazing to me now. Like I would never, for me personally, and everybody's different, I would never buy a house without having a realtor. It's gotten so complex now, and there are so many things that you need to be careful of and you need to watch out for and you need to know in order to safeguard yourself and protect yourself from that aspect. So it's definitely something where I think you guys are worth every cent. I think on the surface, it seems like, wow, that's a huge portion of the sale or the purchase or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think you can get into so much trouble if you're not careful.